Hello, dear friends. So here I am. I'd like to talk to you about a book that I had the pleasure of creating called One Brightness, The Eyes of Love. And if you watch my former video in this email, you will know that I started working with children due to the prompting of a spiritual teacher, pretty much at the bottom part of my life, who came along and told me that I should work with children in my ceramic studio, something that I would never have thought to do. And then in this exploration of working with these young children, their ages like 3 to 8, which is what this book is for, um, in working with them, also, he told me that I should receive stories, not read them stories that were published, fairy tales from Hans Christian Andersen, but that I would receive stories that were, he called them real stories from Spirit Club. So these are the real stories from Spirit Club. And the magic goes on because the most unusual thing happened last year, and that is that the Evolutionary Leaders Circle, which is a group of individuals, luminaries, august teachers, spiritual activists that come together in synergy to express and to help with the shift of consciousness in this world. An amazing group. And in that group, they have synergy circles on different topics. And one of the topics was the Unitive Narrative Synergy Circle. And what that means, in my interpretation, is what is the essential, what is the essential quality of life on earth? What is it that we're here? What is the story in relation to that? It talks about the unitive nature of reality and our position in it. So they were putting this together, and I got a request from Unitive Narrative Synergy Circle to do a children's book on the unitive narrative. So I said yes because it just sounded so great. And I have to say immediately, it started to come. It just completely came, immediately. It started to dawn, and the message of the one brightness, the eyes of love, was just so present. And this book brought up the essential questions, a lot of essentials questions about life on Earth, the origin, what we're doing, how we're doing. And so Jude Caravan uh, came in to help me, to inspire me, reading her book Gaia, and to inspire me in this work. And that was just fantastic, really, really fantastic. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about this book from the point of view of something deeper than what you're seeing and just hearing in the narrative. So I'm going to bring up the first page of the book. So I am going to bring up nothingness, no thingness, so that we can begin to see what kinds of things are in here. What can you bring to it with the little young people in your life? Okay, so let's bring up nothingness. So the book starts out with before time and space, before the universe began, there was endless nothingness, no thingness, and not a sound to be heard. So no thingness, what is that? What is no thingness? I mean, we all kind of look at that and say, okay, that's kind of sort of romantic in some way, but no thingness. So one thing is, I have no idea what the children would think of no thingness. But one thing is that no thingness is not nothingness. It is not nothingness. No thingness means no things. No things. Now, you know how much children love things, how much we all love things. Things are wonderful. All our things, our cell phones, our life, our cars, our toys, our food, all things. But what is then no thingness? And so it seems like no thingness is something that is empty of everything. It could be. But if you go a little further, you can realize that things appear and disappear. In other words, on this earth, things disappear and appear again. Creation goes away, then it comes back with something new over and over again. People disappear and appear again. So that is all happening. So in our minds, no thingness means an absence of anything. Nothing exists. Can we begin to think about no thingness as everything? No thingness is everything, everything in nothingness. It's a place of infinite possibilities. So what happened? What happened when it all began in nothingness? From nothingness, in just 3 minutes, a gigantic light lit up our universe with one brightness. Okay, now, this is what science is telling us now, that in our time of 3 minutes from Jude's book, our time in 3 minutes, a big light lit up our universe. Okay, now that light and everything that appeared, maybe it was there in nothingness and the light brought it to light. Like, when we walk into a room and it's dark and there's nothing there, we don't think there's anything there. And then we open the light and whoa, there's all this one brightness. So what could have happened? So in this one brightness, what appeared? Sparklings with eyes of love beamed out. Sparkles from this one brightness, they beamed out. And they began to sing. There was sound. And the way it all happened in the sequence was that first were solar systems, and then planets and galaxies, and then twinkling stars. Again, from the cosmology. Now, think about this. It's as if, this just happened, all came out of this light, sparklings with eyes of love beamed out. It's as if it was all came from that nothingness. So, with children, they're closer to truth than we are, that, especially the younger they are, and so this is something you could talk to them about, how do they see that? Could they draw it? Could they talk about those sparklings that came out? And it's important to look at all this doodling that I've done here and all the fun that I had coming in there, because it was almost like infinite diversity coming from this brightness that comes in, and all these sparklings beam out and actually the sparklings become these things. They're things. Planets are things. Okay, let's go on a little bit more. Now over here, look what we see here. Do we see that? So what happened is, on our teeny tiny spark, one of our spark, a planet, one little spark, the Earth, called Earth, sparklings appeared. Now, how they appeared and when they appeared and the sequence, we don't know, but they appeared. If we're in time, there is an evolution going on that we could really look at, and it's so exciting. But these things appeared, and they appeared as water and fish and dinosaurs and birds and trees and apple and insects and diamonds. That's a diamond. I tried really hard to make that diamond. Anyway, and here's Clarissa the fish. There's Clarissa, there's the dinosaur, there's the apple, like the computer. Anyway, all these appeared, and guess what else appeared? You and me. There am I, and there are the children. We all appeared. And in our appearance here, when we come here, when we get the memo and we come here, we're in a magic show here. We're dressed up as different characters, but we all know at the beginning that we're one brightness. We know that we're one brightness. So just to consider that about with young children, that they're taught that they're a boy and a girl, and that they're artistic or they're not artistic, or they're good at sports, or they're smarter, they're not smarter. All that identity is being programmed into them. And so it's so easy to lose that magic, that really, these are roles, these are characteristics, this is what we do here on Earth, but they are not essentially what we are. So I'm not showing you the entire book, but what happened in the story of Earth and One Brightness is that after a while, a fog began to come on the Earth. Now, this is a huge question. It's a huge, the fog is a very, very big metaphysical question. These are the big questions of life. We're talking about the big questions. Like why is there suffering? What is going, what created that? What is it? Why does the earth have illnesses? All the things we talk about. So in terms of this, we call it a fog. And one of the things is you have to explain to the children it's not a normal fog. So they don't go out every time there's a fog and be frightened. So let's say there's a very strange fog. What this fog did is they made everyone feel that we're separate. Now, I know that we all feel separate, and perhaps we feel separate when you're 3 years old, but initially, that sense, without any thinking in the mind, that sense of separation from that is a separation that causes loneliness. It's a separation for something essential in our nature. So that separation starts many things happening, because then we feel inadequate and we feel that we need something. So what happened? Wanting began. We call it the want dragon in Spirit Club. The want dragon comes up and we want more toys, more attention, more pizza, more and more. The reason we want this is we feel alone and scared, and we feel that those things will help us. So when you get to this point with the children, you just have to really tell the truth, in the sense that we don't know exactly why that fog came and what happened, but there is a fog and it's no one's fault. That's the other thing. Please, take the blame out of it, because from that fog, a lot came. A lot came from that fog. Let's see what happened. Here. So what happened in that fog? Everything turned gray. Look how gray the background is. And the animals were sad. Animals are sad in this world. The plants look sad. Look at those plants. Even the rocks were gloomy. The water seemed dull and foggy. Some forgot one brightness and started doing hurtful things to each other in the earth. This happens because of fog. Because we have fog and we get scared and we don't know what's going on, then all of a sudden things happen. Here's an opportunity to talk about pollution. And fighting and deforestation, and what's happening to the water, but not in a sense of blame. We cannot blame our species. Nobody's doing this on purpose. Something's happening. There's a fog that happened here that we don't really understand. And there's something that can be done about that. That's what this story is about. One brightness, the eyes of love. So you can speak to the children about these things, as long as we don't have a lot of blame, and just really like a quality of investigation, like what happened. Okay? Now, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but let's go one more. So here it is. So many people did different things in terms of the fog, but some people just accepted it and tried to get better and better in the fog and try to make fog equipment, that kind of thing. But there are some people, and this is who we're talking to. When you talk to the children, you need to tell them you're one of the people that's come together to do this, that's their lives too, that is their mission. So what happened is we bravely decided to look into the mysterious fog, and it was frightening, and it was dark, and it seemed full of monsters. So it isn't that we're going to make the fog go away by shooting it down, by legislating stuff to stop the fog, by making people be fog free. That is not the way it happens for us. But people have come together and really, first of all, look at the fog, open our eyes of consciousness, our eyes of love. Look at it, see what it is. Why is it there? What is it happening to our humanity? What is it doing to us? So the big message here is, with that monster, that no matter how dark and spooky it may appear, one brightness is always here. So this is what the children have to know. It is not a question of killing the monster or destroying the monster, because the monster is a fog monster. He's just in the fog, and the fog can lift, it can move away. And there's always one brightness, is always there, always there. So this book continues and it explains how we opened our eyes of love and what happened. I can't tell you that. So, and say that this is a story that is a very important story. It has a story. It's about the unitive narrative, what people are trying to put together to show us that we are really not separate people that are just have separate opinions and live in separate bodies and separate lives, that we are unified, that we're a unitive narrative, that we're unity itself. And that we're all here to remember that, to remember and to see that we're sparklings and to know that the sun, that the sparkle is always there. The one brightness is always there. It cannot be diminished. It came from the before time, from the nothingness. So I hope that you will want to purchase this book for your anybody you know that's young, and talk to them about it, and tell them, how you found your eyes of love. That would be great. Thank you, and have a great, great holiday season. Bye.